Welcome to More Than a Few Words, a marketing conversation. This is your host, Lorraine Ball. And this week I'm doing something very special in honor of my 1200 episode milestone. I'm digging back into the archives and finding some of my favorite conversations and some of the conversations that were most popular with my audience. And because my archive goes back 16 years, it's possible you've missed a few of these favorites, and I'm excited to share them with you. Kicking off the week is one that makes me laugh every time I listen to it, but it's good information. It was a conversation with Jay Mattingly, who was working for me at Round Peg when we recorded this conversation, talking about disc profiles and Ninja Turtles. I don't want to give anything away, so I'm just going to turn it over to Jay Mattingly.
Today we're going to have a little bit of fun and talk about, we're going to talk about Ninja Turtles. If you're about the same age as most of my staff here at Round Peg, you probably remember the Ninja Turtles. And sitting with me today is our Director of Marketing, Jay Mattingly. Jay, who are the Ninja Turtles?
As a Ninja Turtle aficionado, I felt it was important that I sit in on this podcast. The Ninja Turtles were four turtles living in New York, and their names were Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello.
And these turtles, if you're not familiar with the program, were life-size. They had some magic potion dropped on them, and they were crime fighters. What was interesting about the Turtles is they each had their own unique personality. And we were talking about the Turtles in a very interesting context. We're working right now with Hazel Walker and looking at disc profiles, and Jay had a revelation that the Turtles actually exemplify the personalities we're talking about. Jay, how do they match up?
Absolutely. We'll start with the D, which is the director, somebody who makes quick decisions and isn't afraid to make the tough decisions. When I thought about a D personality, the first name that sprung up was Raphael. He's not afraid to make the quick decisions, but he can also be a little bit quick-tempered.
So there's a good and a bad side to every disc personality. When I think of the Turtles, certainly the most fun-loving is Michelangelo. What would you say Michelangelo's disc profile is?
Easily, Michelangelo's a high I, a bit like myself. He wants the group to have a great time, and as long as everybody's having fun, he doesn't care what they're doing. When I think of Donatello, I instantly think of the C personality. Donatello is constantly concerned with details, and he's the scientist of the group. He's the critical thinker and is always the one that weighs information before making decisions.
And the fourth turtle is really the leader of the group, Leonardo, but he's not a classically strong leader. What personality do you think he represents?
I think naturally Leonardo represents the S because he cares more about the group than himself. However, I think he adapts his behavior to be a strong D, which means that he takes the reins of leadership, however reluctantly, so that he can lead the turtles.
I know that this seems like a bit of a stretch for business owners, but I really think that there was some good points here, and I think I might have to go back and revisit some of my cartoons to see the personalities in play. How do you see some of these characteristics playing out in real businesses like, Round Peg?
I think that this illustrates that it's important to have a team with members with different personalities. Those personalities work together to form a whole that's greater than the sum of its parts. The turtles need each of those personalities just like we do.
I think you're dead on there. And the interesting thing about the turtles, and maybe also about small businesses, is there's tremendous respect. When they're fighting against a common enemy, they are very united. But they make each other crazy because they do have different styles. And I think that's a really valuable lesson for any small business owner, to look at the makeup of their team, to figure out who the players are and which personalities they represent. And I also would challenge business owners to maybe spend a little time with tools like DISC. We've been working with Hazel Walker and quite honestly have really enjoyed the conversations. we're finding it very helpful in terms of our own communication and how we approach customers. Jay, thanks so much for your insight into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you've enjoyed this conversation, be sure to look for all of the episodes of More Than a Few Words wherever you listen to podcasts. This has been another episode of More Than a Few Words. Thanks for listening.